For years, Jungkook of BTS has been an enigma when it comes to romance. Despite being at the center of global stardom, the youngest member of BTS has always been guarded, offering fans only vague glimpses into his personal life. But earlier this year, during a rare and heartfelt interview, Jungkook left fans around the world breathless when he opened up about someone who had once made his heart flutter. And now, months later, the world may finally know who she is. It began innocently enough. In an exclusive sit-down interview with a Korean magazine focused on the emotional well-being of celebrities, Jungkook was asked a question many have wondered about for years: has he ever fallen for someone in real life? For a moment, he hesitated, then smiled in that familiar, shy way fans know so well, and then he said, "Yes, a few years ago, there was someone. I wouldn't call it love, but my heart definitely fluttered around her." Single admission set the internet ablaze. Armies immediately began speculating. Fan theories flooded social media. Clips were analyzed frame by frame. Who was this mystery girl who had once caught the attention of the Golden Maknae? Initially, the theories were wild and ungrounded. From stylists to backup dancers to fellow idols, fans sifted through every possible connection Jungkook may have had over the years. But one name slowly started to emerge more consistently than the rest: Yeona. Yeona is not a celebrity. She's not an idol, nor an actress. She is, in fact, a former art student who briefly worked behind the scenes at HYBE as a part-time graphic design intern during BTS's Love Yourself era. Born in Busan, like Jungkook, she had been recruited by HYBE for a short-term creative contract during her university internship period. The overlap was minimal, lasting only about 4 months. But according to insiders, her presence had left a lasting impression. What reignited the rumor mill wasn't just her reappearance in a now viral photo from 2018 showing her in the background of a staff group shot. It was a particular part of Jungkook's interview, when he described the girl who had once caught his heart. She had a quiet kind of energy, he had said, not someone who tries to stand out, someone who feels like the calm in a storm. She had short black hair, always wore simple clothes, and was always drawing in her sketchbook. I noticed her even though she never said a word to me at first. The description fits Yeona perfectly, as confirmed by several former interns who worked at HYBE during that period. One anonymous staff member shared, "Yeona was very introverted. She was always doodling during lunch breaks, never tried to get close to the idols. In fact, she avoided them. But once or twice, we noticed Jungkook would stop by where the interns were working and just stand there for a moment. It was subtle, but he noticed her, for sure." Still, nothing about this indicated romance or even friendship at the time. Until recently, no one had thought much of their interactions. With Jungkook's quiet confession and the growing alignment of details, Yeona was inevitably thrust into the spotlight. When contacted by reporters after the speculation gained traction, Yeona was initially reluctant to comment. Eventually, she agreed to speak via a written statement, emphasizing, "Jungkook and I were never close. We spoke maybe 2 or 3 times in passing. I always admired him as an artist, but I never imagined I had made any kind of impression on him." Despite her modest denial, fans couldn't help but draw connections. The timeline fit, the description matched, and more than anything, Jungkook himself hadn't denied it when her name came up in a follow-up interview. In fact, in a more recent livestream, when a fan commented, "Is the girl you mentioned Yeona?" Jungkook paused, chuckled slightly, and said, "Some things are better left as they are. But yeah, she's a good person, very kind-hearted." That alone wasn't confirmation, but it certainly wasn't denial either. For Jungkook, who usually avoids romantic speculation, that small acknowledgement was seismic. Story, however, doesn't end with fan theories or speculative interviews. Behind the scenes, something more personal was unfolding, not a love story, but something tender, respectful, and human. As the story surrounding Yeona gained momentum, both media and fans were eager to learn more. Yeona, however, maintained a low profile. declined televised interviews and politely rejected offers from talk shows that hoped to capitalize on the trending topic. She stayed quiet, perhaps out of respect for Jungkook, or perhaps simply because she had no desire for fame. But the buzz eventually became too loud to ignore, and after careful coordination, she agreed to a single long-form interview with an online Korean culture magazine known for thoughtful journalism rather than clickbait. In that rare conversation, Yana spoke gently, choosing her words with care. "To be honest, I was shocked when people started talking about me. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Never imagined Jungkook remembered me, much less spoke about me in that way." She went on to recount the very first time she saw Jungkook in person. "I was walking down a hallway carrying a portfolio case when I accidentally bumped into someone. I looked up and it was him. He just smiled and helped pick up my papers. That was the first time we ever made eye contact. From that point on, there were small moments, passing by in the hallway, brief nods, a shared smile in the break room, but never a deep conversation. He was always respectful, never invasive. I appreciated that." Eventually, near the end of her internship, one of the senior designers invited her to a group lunch that included several BTS members. She remembers sitting at the same table as Jungkook, but being too nervous to speak much. He, on the other hand, had made a comment about her sketchbook, saying, "Draw really well." I noticed that. I think I blushed and muttered a thank you. "That was probably our longest conversation," Yana said with a laugh. When asked whether she felt anything romantic during that time, she shook her head. "No. I admired him. More like someone watching a distant star. He was always out of reach, you know." Still, she acknowledged feeling deeply honored that he had remembered her at all. Sometimes the smallest moments stay with you. And maybe for him, it was one of those moments. Cook, for his part, continued to be tactful. In a later appearance on a variety talk show, when asked directly about Yana, he smiled and answered, "She was someone I noticed, yes, but we were never more than two people walking different paths. I respect her privacy and always will." The host had pressed further, jokingly asking, "So, you had a crush?" To that, Jungkook had simply replied, "Maybe. I was young, I noticed her. That's all." What emerged from all this wasn't a scandal or a secret romance. It was something more profound, a brief human connection in the whirlwind of celebrity, remembered fondly and respectfully by both parties. In a world where every interaction can be scrutinized, Jungkook and Yana's story stood out not because of what it was, but because of what it wasn't. They never dated. They never exchanged numbers. Not in love. But for a few fleeting moments, a global superstar and a quiet artist shared something small and beautiful, mutual recognition. And perhaps, in that simplicity, fans found something even more touching than a love story. They found authenticity. As Yana herself said at the end of the interview, "It was just a moment, but it meant something, and I'm grateful for that." So, is the mystery solved? Yes, but not in the way people may have expected. There was no hidden relationship, no secret rendezvous, no dramatic love affair, just a boy who noticed a girl who never thought she'd be noticed. And sometimes, that's enough to make hearts flutter all over again.